Have you ever gotten paid and felt broke again within the week? Turns out, it happens to almost everyone who's ever gotten a paycheck. This is Max. Payday just hit. For a few hours, he has more money sitting in his account than he's had in weeks. By Wednesday, he's back to checking his balance before he orders coffee. Nothing about his salary changed. Somehow, the feeling of having money didn't even survive the weekend. Stick with this one. By the end, you'll probably know exactly which day of your own month this happens on. Friday, 6 p.m., the notification hits. Payday. He glances at the number and feels something loosen in his chest, a little lighter, a little more generous with himself. Dinner out with friends that night? He'd normally think twice. Tonight he doesn't, he just got paid, he deserves it. Saturday, he finally buys the pair of shoes he's had sitting in a browser tab for 3 weeks. It's fine, there's money for it. Sunday, delivery instead of cooking. Twice. Monday, a coffee on the way to work becomes 2 coffees, becomes an app subscription he forgot he was even still paying for, reactivated without a second thought. None of it feels like a decision exactly. Each one is just a small yes, and there's money there to say yes to. By Wednesday, he checks his balance out of habit and stops. That's not what he expected to see. Here's the strange part, nothing he bought was reckless. No single purchase would have worried him on its own. So, how does a paycheck that was supposed to last 3 weeks feel like it's already running out 4 days in? Here's the honest answer. On paper, money is completely interchangeable. $1 from your paycheck and $1 you find in an old coat pocket spend exactly the same way. But that's not how it feels. In practice, people mentally sort money into different categories, almost like separate accounts inside their head, even when it's sitting in the same actual bank account. Economists have a name for it: mental accounting. Rent money feels untouchable. Bill money feels already spent, mentally, the moment it arrives. But payday money, especially in the first day or two, doesn't get filed the same way. For a little while, it feels closer to a windfall. Almost like it's not fully claimed yet. It's the same number, it just doesn't feel like the same money. There's a second piece layered on top of that. People are far more likely to feel motivated, disciplined, in control right after a clean dividing line. A Monday, a New Year, a birthday. A payday works the same way. Researchers call it the fresh start effect, which sounds like it should help. But here's the twist. A fresh start doesn't just make people feel ready to be careful going forward. It also makes the last few weeks feel closed, filed away, done, no longer relevant. Whatever Max was worried about financially 2 days ago suddenly feels like it belongs to a slightly different version of himself. Old chapter. So the same clean slate feeling that could power a fresh budget also quietly gives him permission to loosen up. Just for now, because now feels separate from before. And underneath both of those is something simpler. Every purchase Max makes is small, immediate, and finite. Dinner ends, the shoes arrive. Each one is a single clear moment of yes, followed by a small real reward. The cost of that yes is none of those things. It's not a single moment. It doesn't arrive with a receipt. It shows up 3 weeks later, spread out, attached to nothing in particular, just a slightly emptier account and a slightly tighter month. There's no instant where Max's brain gets to flag that was the mistake, because no single yes was. By the 3rd week, the familiar tightness is back. Checking the balance before ordering coffee. Doing quiet math before saying yes to plans. Some weeks, he doesn't check the account at all for a few days, not because he forgot, but because some part of him already knows what it'll say and would rather not confirm it. Which, if it sounds familiar, is the same instinct that makes an unopened bill easier to leave unopened. Here's what makes it worse the next time. The version of Max on Payday Friday made a quiet promise. This time, he'd be more careful. This time, some of it would go further. And when that doesn't hold, again, it's not just the money that takes a hit. It's how much he trusts his own next promise. Which makes it a little easier to shrug off the one after that, too. And it's not really about payday specifically. The exact same thing happens with a tax refund, a bonus, a bit of cash from a birthday card. Any money that arrives in a lump, separate from the slow, predictable trickle of a regular paycheck, tends to get treated as more spendable, not because the amount is different, but because it never got assigned a job. Regular income has bills already waiting for it in Max's head. A windfall shows up unclaimed. There's a wider cost too, one researchers who study financial stress keep finding. Worrying about money doesn't just feel bad, it actively narrows how well people think. It's sometimes called tunneling. When money is tight, attention gets pulled so hard toward the immediate shortage that there's less mental bandwidth left over for the slower, harder thinking that actually prevents the shortage next time. So the tighter week 3 gets, the worse equipped Max is to plan his way out of it, right when he needs that planning the most. which means the cycle doesn't just repeat, it reinforces itself. Flush on Friday, careful and a little foggy by the third week, then a fresh start that quietly erases the lesson right when it was about to stick. None of this is really about one weekend either. Do this every payday, and most people do, and it stops being 4 wobbly days a month. It's closer to half of every month, spent just a little differently than the other half. 12 times a year, without a single one of those times ever quite feeling like a decision. So is Max just bad with money? Not really, he can do the math. He knows exactly what rent costs. The problem was never really the number in his account. It's which mental account that number felt like it belonged to and how easily payday money convinces him it's not quite real yet. So the next time Max gets paid and feels like celebrating, maybe the interesting question isn't how much money just landed. It's which version of that money he thinks he's spending, the rent or the reward. And if this sounds a little too familiar, you're not the only one who's felt rich on a Friday and tight by Wednesday.